All right, so welcome everyone. We're just super excited. They got a great call ahead of you. We got two fantastic professionals on that I know that you want to hear what they're going to say. We have Zaheer Poptani, who's a financial advisor in the Texas area, who's built an amazing business, but also has a very unique outlook on working with, collaborating with centers of influence, which is what we always talk about. And then my good friend Greg Davis is here from locally here in the Carolinas, who has a tremendous background in both real estate and business law. So I just wanted to bring these guys together and just kind of we'll let them explain kind of what they do but I think you're going to get a lot of value from their perspective today. So Greg, I'll kind of start with you, man. Just love to just kind of hear your background and how did you get started in law, and just love to hear about your expertise right now.
Yeah, so Chris, thank you for the warm introduction. Thanks for having me on the call today. I'm going to have to give it up to my dad. A long time ago, my dad sat me down and said, "Hey, man, you're working. What are you doing with your money?" And I said, "Well, I'm putting it in the bank." He said, "Well, you need to put it in the mutual fund." I said, "Well, what's that?" So I've always had a love for investments, and that love for investments turned into me wanting to learn how I can incorporate the law and investments. And so now I have a law practice that focuses in on estate planning, business law, and also real estate. And often those three things work together. And so that's my focus.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I find it unique. Like, not a lot of people kind of have both areas. Like they're either kind of one or the other. But I know you can deal with the wills, the estates, but also with real estate. Like, you got tremendous knowledge and you bring a lot of value to clients. And but makes you, I think, even more an even better what we call COI, or center of influence. Zahir, so glad to have you. Maybe just share your background, and maybe how you got started as a financial advisor, and kind of just kind of like tell us about your quick journey.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I am originally from England. Actually got educated there, have my law degree from there. So, fellow lawyer, or not a lawyer, but law degree person. I moved to the United States about 26 years ago and ended up getting educated in finance. And so I started my journey as an intern in a wealth management firm, basically grew up in that firm, learned how to do the investment management part, but then quickly found out that a lot of my clients that I was servicing, especially in the high net worth range, ended up wanting me to advise them on a broader array of services. And so you quickly learn to become a generalist. You get skilled about understanding at least the landscape of different areas of need. And not that you'll be able to necessarily execute in those areas, but you have to learn how to engage with other professionals that have the ability to help your clients become successful. And so that was really the cornerstone of me building a book of business that allowed me to help higher and higher net worth clients. And so, there's really no trick to this. There's really just a long process of engaging with professionals that teach you how to become a better professional yourself. And that was my story. And so today I'm fairly fortunate in just dealing with mostly high net worth folks are that have an area of need that is a lot broader than the typical just investment management focus.
Yeah, so it's like that kind of like kind of leads into my question about, like, so a lot of advisors, like they grow a business to maybe a couple hundred clients or 250 clients, right? And then you talk to them and they say, like, I'm trying to trim down, like it's just way too many to handle, right?
Mhm.
But they still obviously want assets under management. And I thought that was really interesting that when you said you work with about 10 clients over about 100 million in AUM. Maybe just kind of just talk about like, how did you actually, like, kind of build that business? Like, how did you actually maybe kind of bring on, maybe attract the higher net worth clients? I think that would probably be helpful for a lot of the people that are listening.
Sure. So a lot of these relationships go back many years, but in terms of the more prominent ones that I've attracted, it started out at the friendship level and truly just getting to know people before they became ultra wealthy. And so I just naturally had an inclination to want to hang around people that were tech entrepreneurs. And so of those tech entrepreneurs that I became very friendly with, I helped them out before they were rich. And so this was a lot of like, well, do you have a will? You probably need a will. So let's help you get that. And at that time, they're still building a business. They don't have an incredibly high net worth. And if you're able to provide those values before they're rich, they're going to stick with you after they become rich. And so when they have that event, especially if you're able to help them execute on that event, and that's where you require some amount of collaboration with the estate attorney to visit with that estate attorney while they're going through that planning, and then also the CPA and then the business broker. And you just establish these networks of relationships that then hopefully bring you more clients that are in the same realm, but more importantly, just servicing that client that you're helping bring to the promised land. So there's really no like magic trick. It's just get engaged at an early level, understand who these people are before they have established relationships, and then, you know, give them the service that they require early on, and watch that flourish.
You know, so I'm listening to you, like you make this sound so simple, right? And you're like so cool with it. Whereas like, so like literally right now, there's thousands of financial advisors that either they're working at a firm, maybe they're or maybe part of an insurance firm, or even maybe just a large wirehouse, and they're like just getting hammered right now from maybe corporate or their manager, like make more calls, bring in some more higher net worth clients. But like I'm listening to you right now, and I'm just like laughing on the inside that you're like you kind of say it's like no big deal. It's just kind of a natural progression.
Okay, here's an idea, actionable idea. Go to your local tech park and you will find any number of young entrepreneurs that want to get there. They're hungry, they work hard. Not all of them will get there, but all of them need some level of advice. They have some level of curiosity about the areas of expertise that a lot of your constituents have, right? Around investment planning, financial planning, insurance planning, whatever it is. And just be there, be service to them. Now, it's not going to write any checks right now, but if you're there early on, I had a client once tell me, if you want me to be there on Monday morning, be there for me Friday night. And what that means is that like be there for them when they're not there yet, but they'll be there for you later.
Interesting. Almost like playing the long game, like playing the long game. You know, add value first and just kind of let the fruit grow. I love that. I love
Right.
that.
Well, how do you distinguish yourself in a very competitive marketplace, right? Which is if your expectation is that you're going to pick these people up once they've had their exit, do you know how many times my clients get solicited? Like literally every week. It's not for the faint of heart, this business. But you just have to be better than everyone else and establish relationships earlier than everyone else. It takes grind.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know you talked about kind of like, listen, do you need an estate plan? You know, let's get that set up. And there's obviously a lot of knowledge that a financial advisor, a financial advice professional needs to bring to the table. Greg, let me ask you this. You know, when it comes to let's say estate and even attorney, maybe just kind of just share, maybe just kind of deeper into some of the areas that you actually specialize in, if you could, and just maybe let some of the people that are listening just get an idea of maybe some of the knowledge, some of the general knowledge that is kind of needed, even as a financial advisor.
Well, I end up working with a lot of business clients, often small business clients, and small business owners. Chris, you know this. Zaheer, you guys know this. Sometimes you're so focused on running the business, you're not really thinking about the future, right? And at some point in the future, either you're going to close the business or you're going to sell the business or maybe transition that business on to someone else. So what does the business succession plan look like, right? And that ties right back into estate planning because, of course, you need to have an estate plan for yourself, right? And that's just the basics of having at least a will so you can name an executor to manage your estate. You can name some beneficiaries. But not only do you need to have those plans in place for yourself as an individual, but you also need to have those plans in place for your business. Okay. So there is the business succession plan about, well, who's going to take over the business? Is it going to be your children? Is it going to be that person that you call your number two? And then that often opens up a whole nother can of worms. Well, what about the operating agreement? Oh, well, I have the LLC set up, but I have no operating agreement in place. Well, what happens if one person decides to leave the business? Are we going to do evaluation? Are we going to hire a CPA firm? So I think it's really good what Zaheer is saying is, you want to be able to add value by just helping the business owner or the individual say, well, where are my blind spots and what can I put in place to cover those blind spots?
Yeah, you talk a lot about it kind of like the keys that business owners like myself really need to be thinking about. And I hear financial advisors all the time. You ask them, well, what kind of clients do you want? And then it's like the first answer or the second answer is always, I want business owners. Like business owners, like we're like this like highly desired, like even before athletes. I think I hear a lot more, right? But they're hungry. They want to work with business owners. Maybe just if you could just talk to us, Greg, about what that might look like. So you've got financial advisor A, and he's got or she's got a certain level of expertise in creating an estate plan. But then also there's this concept of collaboration and working with someone like you who's actually who does this all day, all the time, right? So maybe just kind of what does that actually look like? So you've got a financial advisor with a certain level of expertise that wants to collaborate with an attorney, right, for the benefit of that client, let's say on an estate plan in particular. Maybe just kind of just paint a picture for us, if you will, of what that collaboration you think could actually look like.
I think it can go like one of two ways. Sometimes it's just an introduction and a handoff. So often, when I receive a referral from a financial advisor, it's a client that they've had for a while. And when they're going through the investments and their goals, they often also ask, well, what about this box here for estate planning? Have you done the will? Have you done the power of attorney? Have you set up that trust that might be important to you? And then after they kind of drip on them enough, and it's not an immediate thing. Oftentimes it's, oh, well, my advisor was talking to me about this for the past 6 months. It's been 2 years. And now I'm finally getting around to it. And then the person comes. And that's just a straight handoff. Hey, Greg, here's the introduction. And I take care of the documents and it goes back. Other times, it's more of a collaborative effort where there's a financial advisor involved. There's also a CPA involved. And then I'm the guy coming in to help with the estate planning documents. And so there it's more of a collaborative approach where I'm actually talking to the CPA and I'm talking to the financial advisor. So it can go both ways.
I love that. So, what we always teach, we say, look, you got a client, they are working with a CPA, they're working with an attorney. Like, why not start to work with that attorney, right? Like, there's a common need, but like you had mentioned in that first case, which I think happens most often, is like a handoff approach. And I think that the financial advice professional never actually gets a chance or gets the opportunity to build a professional trust by just simply handing it off. Although it's fine for you, right? As the attorney, like, hey, I'll just take the business. But yet, if there's a collaborative approach, then there could be more. I think there could be much more better ideas. But really, it'll give that attorney the chance to see, just to develop a better rapport with that financial advisor.
Yeah.
So So kind of Zaheer, on that note, I know you've worked with CPAs as well, and attorneys, but maybe just share with us kind of like how you view that whole concept of maybe working with CPAs, and what do you think the key is to actually working with accountants?
So you kind of nailed it in that the place where you operate at a level that you get the business value from that relationship is where you've established this thing called professional trust, right? Which is, I understand the work that you do, you understand the work that I do, we can work effectively together. And then once we see each other working well together, we want to be able to push business both ways, right? That's professional trust. That's not the top of the pyramid and it's not the bottom of the pyramid, it's the middle of the pyramid. And what you want to do is to establish a foundation for that professional trust, and that's personal trust, right? Is people want to work with people that they like. And so meet with these people, take them to lunch, go golfing, go do the things that basically create an understanding of who they are as a human being. And then you can establish back, the pathway towards saying, all right, well, I've got this particular client that we're working together on. Let's make sure that we're working together to get the optimal outcome. And that's more than just the perfunctory working in my silo. I do my thing, you do your thing. It's where you get to brainstorm and you get to discuss and you get to collaborate. And I promise you, when you work together, you're going to come out with solutions that are more than the sum of their parts. And I've seen this so many times. And Greg, I'm not sure if this has been your experience as well, is that when you've got that relationship with that other advisor where you can leverage each other's professional expertise to create a better outcome, it's like working magic. And it's so refreshing when you see that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll agree with that 100%.
So yeah, I'm not sure if that answered the question, but that's how I approach it.
Yeah. Well, I like what you said about, these optimal solutions. And I heard that when we first started building the company, back in really 2016, 17 is when I started to hear this before we actually launched the company. But an accountant told me that when you collaborate, you're going to get much better ideas because there's things that financial advisor brings to the table that I may not know. This is a CPA talk. And then it's like, all right, well, you got one brain or you got two brains working together, and you can literally create a much better solution for that client. Zaheer, maybe talk to us, maybe tell us, share some success. Like maybe tell us the time that maybe where a client was referred, or a CPA referred a nice client to you. Maybe just share with us a win. I know some of us, sometimes financial advisors think it's challenging to work with CPAs. And I know you've had a chance to do that pretty well over the years. But maybe just share us some a victory, man.
Well, so I can't start with the victory without talking about the failures, right? You literally have to do this the wrong way 100 times before you figure out the right way. And so what I mean by that is that I used to view COI relationships as an opportunity to sell more of my service or product, right? It's that, all right, well, I only really want to talk to you because you provide a pathway for me to engage with more of your clients. And do you know how many referrals I got from that avenue? Like zero, nothing. And so what happened in terms of a big success is that I had a CPA that I had another common client with, and we just got together. And he basically said, "Oh yeah, you need to reach out to Bob." And Bob was a young entrepreneur that I previously met, and we enjoyed we enjoyed meeting each other, but more just talking about like, casual things. But he's like, yeah, he's going through some things right now, and you might want to grab some lunch. And so he set up a warm intro because I had established that not only personal trust relationship with the CPA, but then the professional trust. And he felt like I could help that young person with a solution that he needed. And that's like, oh, okay. Well, that's not like the worst thing, but I didn't know this guy from Adam. It turns out Bob was running a technology company that had $5 million in revenue, that they were on the trajectory for a much wider path. And I'm like, oh, that's how this works. And it's so opposite to what you think. It's that you think you should be out there wowing people with, hey, I've got access to this great suite of investments or this really clever strategy. And like, here's how I'm going to make you 8% versus 7%. And it's none of that. It's that you need to meet people at a human level and understand the pain that you can help solve for them. And then they're going to be able to help you with the people that you can help. And it's not that hard, but we make it hard.
I love when you say that. We talking about this last time. You talk about the human level concept. I'm just like it's so overlooked, right? Like this is just another person. Let's just speak like you're a person, I'm a person, and we're working with a client who's also a human. Let's just deal at the human level for their sake, right? For their benefit. I think that's so. But when you have that, you can actually start to have, say, more success, so to speak, with COIs, accountants, and even attorneys. And it kind of, Greg, it's kind of leads me to you for a second. Just so I hear this, right? Let's just kind of cut to the chase now. That it's so difficult to work with attorneys, right? Like
Yeah, we're tough, man. We're tough.
I hear this a lot. And especially for me, I kind of laugh when I hear that because I hear both sides all the time, right? So advisors all over the U.S. and Canada, and I hear, oh man, I'm great with attorneys, but I have trouble with CPAs. And then I'm getting like 1,000 referrals with CPAs, but oh, those accountants, man, I'm just still waiting to crack the code. I hear that. I hear that. But like maybe to talk about, Greg, like where do you think that comes from, and what is it that is probably not maybe misunderstood as it between the whole financial advisor versus attorney relationship? What do you think?
Well, I think what normally happens is the financial advisors give referrals and the attorney's not giving any referrals back. And so, I mean, and I think that that's a fairly true statement. Uh, with the financial advisors that I've worked with, where there's been give and take, there's been give and take, and sometimes I'll feel bad because maybe 3 referrals will come in, and for all 3, maybe I'm giving back 1. But where I found success is, at least on my side, when I'm doing my intake form. On my intake form, I ask, well, do you have an insurance professional? Would you like a referral to one? Do you have a financial advisor that you're working with? Would you like a referral to one? And oftentimes, when I'm not giving a referral, it's because of the past 10 clients that I've met with, 8 of them already have someone. And so I'm not able to pass that person on because although I'm meeting people, they already work with somebody that they like. But for those 2 people, if they say, I don't have a financial advisor and I would like an introduction, that's when I get to give back to the financial advisors.
Yeah. So it's not so much that attorneys are just money hungry and they're just so transactional, and they're like they have like blood on their teeth, right? They're just killing business. Like there actually is a reason, and we've noticed, so we try to preach this all the time. Like, look, most clients that either an accountant or attorneys work with, like they're already dealing with a profession, right? But maybe just expand though too, though, is that I hear like there's this concept of transactional in the attorney industry where it's like, all right, the perception, let's say, maybe not as much, or sometimes it is with the state attorneys, but definitely like other types of lawyers, right? It's just like they're dealing with them, it's a transaction, and then there's no more relationship with the attorney. And that could be true in a lot of cases, but maybe just touch on like that whole perception that you think, Greg, is out there of the transactional nature of lawyers.
I think that's tough because I can't explain it. Sometimes it's going to be a transaction and the personalities just might not sync up. The energy just might not sync up. I worked at another firm before I launched my own firm. And on occasion, I have clients that I don't know how they found me, but I worked with them at the other firm. They went online, they Googled my name, and they're like, "Hey, do you remember me? I worked with you when you were at the other firm. I want to come see you." And I'm like, "Do you know how many attorneys there are between here and where you are? Why on earth are you contacting me?" And I think it's only because when I was with them, I slowed down, I took time, I prepared, I looked at their documents, and I explained it to them, hopefully better than anyone else ever had, because most people have estate documents, but they really don't know what they say, right? They barely showed up to sign the things, much less have they taken the time to know what they say. And so I want to say this to financial advisors. I went to a talk yesterday and there was a guy there and somebody was asking about retirement plans for small business. And this guy, he went and I wrote it down. So I'm learning. I took notes. He started with a solo 401k. He went from the complex to a SEP IRA to a simple IRA to an IRA. And he was so smooth with it. He went from complex to simple. And when he did that, I said, man, this guy really knows his stuff. So if you can master making the complex simple, most people want it simple. I want the number 2, no cheese. Make it simple, and I think you'll win business. That's what I think.
Oh my gosh, like that's the whole McDonald's concept right there, brother. Let's you're making me hungry right now. Like so kind of like it's like also on that note, right? Now I love how you said that, right? So maybe just kind of talk about like some of the topics that you are. I know you deal with some complex situations with some of your clients. What are some of the main topics right now that are floating around or coming out of the mouths of business owners and like what you're actually working on currently?
Well, business owners, they like if they're doing a transaction to buy another business or to sell their business, they just want clean paperwork, right? They want a clean business purchase agreement. They want a clean asset purchase agreement. They want you to provide the background check. They want a closing statement, and they want everything to be done electronically if it can be, right? So they want clean paperwork. On the estate planning side of things, I'm dealing with a lot of real estate investors. So they often have this question of, well, Greg, should I have this property in an LLC? Should I have this property in a trust? Should I be doing both? And so once again, just taking the time to kind of explain to them the benefits, the options of each strategy, and saying sometimes you want to do both. Sometimes one makes more sense than the other. So it's really just kind of slowing down, asking them, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? And then let's tailor a solution for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And as I hear this kind of brings me to you, right? So like as you're working with and I know you deal with a lot of complex from an advisor standpoint as well, dealing with both of the attorneys and the CPAs. So when it comes to, so let's say like these complex or these questions come up, right? And then for you, I know it's kind of second nature to start to let's get your CPA involved, right? It's kind of like that's kind of where your heart is. Um, what do you think? Where do you think most financial advice professionals miss it? Could be RIA or insurance or wirehouse advisor. What do you think that they miss when it comes to collaborating or even just like working with a CPA? So when that complex situation or scenario comes up, like what do you think that they do not do that they probably should?
That's a massive question. Thank you. Um, to borrow a little bit from Greg, in my opinion, a great advisor starts from a goal planning perspective. What is it that you want to achieve from a client perspective? If you've got a really good understanding at a level that you can explain it to other people at different levels, then you can provide an immense amount of value to that client and then transfer that value to the other professional partners that you might be working with. And so the area that I think that a lot of people miss out on is they start off with the functional and they forget about the strategic. So if you start with the strategic, all right, well, you're working with, let's say, Linda, the CPA. And if you start the conversation with, well, Linda, we've got this complicated transaction and we need to figure out a way to optimize in these specific areas, Linda's going to be amazing. Linda's going to work with you to figure out exactly what you just said. What you might be missing from that conversation is the higher level strategic decision making part, which is, all right, Linda, our client wants to be able to do this thing. Let's say exit this business, purchase this property, do whatever it is. And the reason they want to do it is this. They want to free up their time. They want to be able to create cash flow for another opportunity. If you've got that higher level knowledge of what the client wants to do and why they want to do it, then you become this ultimate like communicator and messenger of filling in the blanks for other professionals. And the magic there is that those other professionals can bring their own perspectives and create solutions that you might not have envisaged. So you see the difference there is that the first one, you're bringing a solution to them and asking them to execute on that solution. The second one is to say, all right, well, here's the thing that we're trying to achieve. Help me come out with a solution. One is prescriptive, the other one is collaborative. You know which one I prefer? I prefer the one where that person sees that you're smart enough to say, I don't know everything, but I know that at least you know enough about this situation to be able to help me come out with a better strategy. How much more empowered is Linda in that environment than the first one? Now, she'll do work in either scenario, but do you see the difference there about why one is better than the other?
Wow, that's gold right there. That's so gold, and it goes back to, you know, like there's more, like there's so much more behind it, that just by you're actually almost kind of playing tennis. I see like you're playing tennis in a sense where you can, hey, here, I'll pass something to you, but you can also hit it back, and as we kind of volley go back and forth, we can actually ultimately create something here, and just kind of see things even a little bit different at you said at a higher level. I mean,
Right.
like that's so big, because like the temptation there is to probably just say, hey, listen, from the financial advisor side, very transactional. Look, we got to get this problem solved. Go fix it, accountant, right? Go fix it, lawyer. But yet, if you come at it from a broader perspective, there could be other opportunities, but which ultimately, I believe, lends itself to actually creating more of a professional trust dynamic and relationship between the two professionals. I think that's so big. I mentioned trust, Greg. So this is like the big topic. I always say that in order to get a referral from an attorney, or in order to get a referral from a CPA, you just simply, assuming that they like you, you have to develop professional trust. Right. And I think if the opportunity is there, and if they like you and they trust you on a professional level, it's coming, right? Like that's just kind of what we've seen. Um, Talk to us, but at the same time, there's a lot of advisors that are probably soliciting you, or probably maybe approaching you, maybe sending you clients with the hopes of, building a relationship with a Greg Davis, and attracting referrals as well. What do you need to see happen, or what do you need to see in that financial advisor or insurance agent to allow you to trust them at a certain level before you say, all right, you know what, I can trust you enough to share a client? Like, what do you think?
Well, with the referrals I've made to financial advisors, I see them. So if I go to the chamber event, I see them there. Or this is something else that I really like. There's one financial advisor that I work with quite often. Her and a insurance agent have created a networking group. So it's not, there's no charge, but once every month or every other month, we meet at a coffee house, and they come up with a topic. What are you doing this month to generate more business or to follow up with existing clients? And we just kind of go around the table, and there's no like limit. There's like a real estate agent here, maybe there's a mortgage broker over there. I show up and we just talk. And we're not talking about clients, we're talking about ideas to build your business or to make you a better professional. But once again, I see her, right? And so later on, when there is a client that comes in, it's like, oh, well, that person's top of mind because I saw them at the chamber event. I saw them at that very casual networking event, and I'm going to make the referral.
Yeah. And just to humor me, man, how many financial advisors in, let's say, the Raleigh area, North Carolina, how many financial advisors, like if you could, right? Like if you had unlimited amount of clients, like how many different financial advisors maybe do you know that like you could possibly give referrals to, like if the opportunities were just endless?
You know,
Not ones that you necessarily trust, but just like that of, that have come across your desk.
I need a financial advisor that fills a pocket. Okay. And this is what I mean by that. I've made referrals from a couple that's kind of like in their mid 50s, and the financial advisor was kind of like in their like early 20s, like no kids, not married yet. And the married couple, closer to retirement, have grown kids. And I put those two together. And the couple said to me, "Hey, we met your referral, man. She was great, but we don't think we're going to work with her." So what I'm learning is some people like similarly situated. So maybe the younger advisor is going to be better suited to the younger client. Maybe the older client wants to see a little gray, or just work with an advisor that's had different life experience, right? They kind of want to see same sitting across the table. So when I say I want advisors for different pockets, I want a young advisor. I want somebody that's kind of in the middle. Maybe I want an advisor that kind of knows a lot about tech. Maybe I want an advisor that knows a lot about healthcare. So if you can show me that you fill a pocket, then when I meet that person, I'm like, oh, here's my middle-aged couple, they're going over there. Here's my young couple, they're going over there.
Wow. And how would they know that, right? Like, how would you know that in them unless you actually met them and you kind of developed a relationship and you kind of hear their value? Zaheer, we're talking a lot about like collaboration, and Greg brought up this great point about like even the networking roundtable that I think is so huge for advisors to even start, but in their own local areas. But we're talking about collaboration. This is like your middle name. That's why me and you, like we've like hit it off from like day one. But like I know you've developed a software that that really just speaks to this, right? Which is really the first that I've seen. Maybe just talk to us about like the app and kind of like how it was created and kind of what the benefit that you think is bringing to the value to the marketplace right now.
Yeah, well, thank you. I created this platform because I felt like the type of work I was doing didn't have a tool to be able to do it effectively. And when I looked at the marketplace, we see these entities called family offices that do it really well. And a family office, for the uninitiated, is an organization that caters to just one family, but they have an in-house attorney, CPA, advisor, insurance, everything is done in-house. And I was thinking, well, we could create a virtual version of that that could be used by multiple professionals, but to give that family the sense that they were being looked after by a team. Because ultimately, that's what matters, right? Is that from a client's perspective, they might be engaging with any number of professionals. And it's only right to expect that that family thinks that those professionals should work together to come up with common solutions for that client. But the problem is that very rarely happens, right? It's that we have fragmented, siloed relationships where half the time people don't even know each other. And imagine if you did anything like that in any other walk of life. If you had a basketball team where everyone had their own ball and didn't pass to each other, it wouldn't be a very successful basketball team. But yet, in professional services, we do this all the time, right? The attorneys over here, the CPAs over here, the financial advisors over here, and go team, it doesn't work. And so what we did is we created a platform that first and foremost was an easy client deliverable. And what that means is that the app is a very easy to use system from a client perspective, but it's powerful in that it allows for these different professional service providers, be they a financial advisor, a CPA, an estate attorney, an insurance agent, whoever it is, to be able to communicate and collaborate on that financial life in a visible way for that client to be able to see. So it is record management, it is document management, it is tasks, and it's communications, all around a broad array of financial issues to organize that client's financial life. And so that's what we built. And again, the ultimate goal here is to organize and simplify a person's financial life and create an environment where different professionals could work together towards that family's benefit.
Wow. And so like how how does an advisor like kind of get started with it or really like
Sure.
like access it and start to use it? Like how does that work?
So the name of the app is called Wealth Teamwork. It's all one word. You can go to www.wealthteamwork.com. You can book a demo and we will take you through what the platform looks like. And then it's a subscription model. So you just simply sign up and you can get to start to use it. And again, it's for any number of different types of professionals, but primarily we've guided this towards financial advisors. But again, we've got estate attorneys and CPAs and bookkeepers and insurance agents using it as well. So it's really kind of like a universal tool, and it's meant to be driving collaboration, but really giving your client that better platform to be able to organize their financial life.
Yeah, I love that. And well, like when you told me about this the last time we talked, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. I got to talk to this guy. Again, it's because this look, you're looking at a product of a LinkedIn connection. I get a message from a Zaheer. I'm like, who's Zaheer? But then now all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, he actually had this is valuable stuff that I think there's a tremendous opportunity for. But you know, just from the simple fact of it increasing the ease of collaboration
Mhm.
and giving more access to information. I think like that's such a powerful thing.
Well,
You
thank
know,
you. And just to like correct the record, I think it was I that reached out to you. And the reason I reached out to you is that when I saw your content and I saw the gospel you were singing, it was something that like was very close to my heart because I, as a financial advisor, did it really the wrong way for such a long time. And when I heard someone preaching the right way, which is really how you kind of create these relationships with these COIs to actually do the thing that we all dream about doing, right? Which is, well, why aren't these people sending you referrals? Well, here's why. And so you are very clearly a very natural partner for me to want to reach out to. So yeah,
yeah, cool,
record.
cool, fantastic. And we wishing much success on the launch of that app. And it was already launched, but just kind of the
Mm.
growth
Thank you.
there. You know, Greg, kind of as we wind down, maybe just kind of just tell everybody like where kind of like again just what services that that you're offering like fully at your firm and how can people reach you if for financial advisors that are looking that have clients that may need your service.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I can be reached at gsdavislaw.com. That's gsdavislaw.com. That's the website. My main areas of focus are estate planning, everything from basic wills and trust. And if we want to do a little bit of tax planning, we can do that as well. We do real estate, mostly closings in the residential and commercial space. And then I love working with my business owners, those that are typically 5 million in revenue and below. If they're looking to buy another business or sell their existing business, I work with those types of clients all the time.
Fantastic. Any final thoughts, guys, as we wind down that you'd want to share to advisors that want to grow with CPAs and attorneys, maybe any new advisors? Is I hear any final thoughts?
Yeah. So I will say that as rosy a picture as I painted about how easy it is, you have to be smart and targeted about the people that you can engage with because there are certainly going to be people out there that are like physically restricted from working with you in the way that you want to be able to work with them because they might have a parent relationship with another advisor that they are like tied towards referring business to. So understanding what makes a good COI is an art form and it's a science as well. The science part comes in understanding what their structure is. Do they have the ability to even refer a business out to you? Do they have the sensibility? Are you jiving with them? Or is there something in terms of a personal relationship that you can establish with them that provides that pathway? So again, not everyone is built to be a great COI, but there are definitely pathways that you can travel to kind of investigate what makes a good COI.
That's a good point. That's big. Greg, how about you? What do you think?
I'm going to give two things. First, I'm going to say uh, be present, right? Show up for networking events, and just find a spot that you like and be consistent in that area. And it doesn't have to be like necessarily traditional networking. Maybe it's you go to the gym on a regular basis, or maybe you go to the shooting range on a regular basis. wherever you go, just go there on a regular basis and let people see you, and that'll develop some trust. And secondly, I know when I was and I'm still kind of new in the game, but when I was building my practice and I literally had like one or no clients, I did quite a bit of volunteering. And by volunteering, at least in my space, I'm working with people in different parts of North Carolina who are having issues with real estate or issues with estate planning. And so I'm sharpening my skill set, right? I'm honing my craft, and I'm sewing into these people. And I think by doing that, it creates this, this energy that will open up other doors for you. So I'm not sure if the same opportunities exist for financial advisors. I think they do. So find a way, maybe it's just like speaking at some type of financial literacy event, find a way where you can use the skills that you have and just share them freely, right? Share them freely, and hopefully it'll come back in on the other side.
Awesome. And look, when you're just getting started, man, there's a big difference between having 0 and 1 client, right?
0 does not pay the bills, so you don't want that.
Big difference. Well, listen, guys, this has been so great. Zaheer and Greg, thanks so much for taking some time out. I think this call is productive. I know that I encourage anyone who listens to this call, reach out to Greg, especially if you're now. Greg, do you deal with clients just in Carolina, or are you kind of all over the U.S.?
I deal with clients mostly in North Carolina, but I have a couple clients in New York and in Georgia as well.
Gotcha. So reach out to them. Zaheer, again, thanks so much. Again, wish you much success in the growth of the app. I know there's gonna be big things coming from behind that, but really appreciate your time, both of you guys, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
Thanks, Chris. Good meeting you, Zaheer.